Choose one silhouette, a Jungian psychological test. Before we reveal what your choice means, subscribe now so you never miss these deep psychological insights. This test reveals how you move through life and what you cannot afford to forget. You stand before 4 animal silhouettes. Each one moves through the world at a completely different speed, from completely different perspectives. Do not think. Simply notice which rhythm your soul recognizes. The choice is already made. Now let us see what you have chosen. The 4 rhythms, a map of time and perspective. These animals represent 4 fundamentally different relationships with time, memory, speed, and perception. The elephant and the mouse both walk on Earth, but one is so large it cannot be ignored while the other is so small it sees what giants miss. The eagle and the turtle both understand patience, but the eagle waits in the sky while the turtle waits within its shell. The elephant never forgets. The mouse cannot afford to forget. The eagle sees everything from above. The turtle carries everything on its back. If you chose the elephant, you are burdened by memory. If you chose the mouse, you are driven by survival. If you chose the eagle, you seek distance from chaos. If you chose the turtle, you have learned to carry the weight slowly. The elephant and the turtle both move slowly, but the elephant's slowness comes from deliberation, while the turtle's slowness comes from protection. The elephant could move faster but chooses not to. The turtle cannot move faster even if it wanted to. The mouse and the eagle both understand speed, but the mouse runs from danger while the eagle flies toward perspective. Now that you see how these rhythms relate, let us explore what your specific choice reveals about how you navigate time, memory, and the pace of your life. The elephant, the weight of memory that never fades. If you chose the elephant, you carry everything, every conversation, every betrayal, every kindness, every wound. You do not forget. This is not a choice. This is how you are built. Your mind is a vast storage system that catalogs every experience with perfect clarity, and you cannot delete the files even when they hurt to remember. The elephant never forgets, and neither do you. Unlike the mouse who forgets quickly to survive the next moment, you remember deeply because your survival depends on learning from the past. You do not make the same mistake twice. You cannot. The memory of the first time is too vivid, too present, too real. People think you hold grudges, but you are not holding anything. You simply remember what happened with the same clarity as if it happened yesterday. Where the eagle gains perspective through distance, you gain perspective through time. You see patterns across years, even decades. You remember who someone was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and you cannot reconcile that person with who they claim to be today. This makes you wise, but also burdened. You carry the full weight of your history, and it is heavy. Where the turtle protects itself with a shell, you protect yourself with memory. You remember who hurt you, so you know who to avoid. You remember who showed up, so you know who to trust. Your memory is your armor, your weapon, and your prison all at once. It keeps you safe, but it also keeps you stuck in moments that others have long forgotten. But here is your burden. The elephant who remembers everything eventually becomes trapped by its own memory. You cannot move forward because the past is still so present. You cannot forgive because you cannot forget. Someone apologizes, and you want to believe them. But your memory plays back every previous apology they broke. You want to trust, but your memory catalogs every time trust was violated. Unlike the mouse who lives in the constant present, you live in the constant past. Every new experience is filtered through the lens of every old experience. This protects you from repeating mistakes, but it also prevents you from having new experiences. You are so busy remembering what happened last time that you cannot be fully present for this time. The elephant asks, "Is my memory protecting me, or is it preventing me from living?" The mouse, the speed of survival in every moment. If you chose the mouse, you live in a state of constant alertness. You do not have the luxury of slow contemplation, like the elephant or the turtle. You do not have the distance of the eagle. You are small, vulnerable, and the world is full of things that could crush you without even noticing. So you move fast, you think fast, you react fast. You survive by never staying still long enough to be caught. Unlike the elephant who carries everything, you cannot afford to carry anything. Your survival depends on being light, on being able to drop what you are holding and run at any moment. You do not hold grudges because you do not have time. You do not overthink because thinking slows you down. You operate on instinct, on split-second decisions, on the absolute necessity of moving before danger arrives. Where the turtle moves slowly because it is protected, you move quickly because you are exposed. You have no shell, you have no size, you have only speed and the ability to notice details that larger creatures miss. You see the cracks in the wall, you notice the smallest changes in temperature, in tone, in energy. You survive by paying attention to what others overlook. Where the eagle sees the big picture from above, you see the tiny details up close. You live in the micro. You notice the shift in someone's voice, the tension in their shoulders, the small lie hidden in their smile. You have to notice, because missing these details could mean danger. The mouse survives by seeing what the elephant is too large to notice and the eagle is too high to perceive. But here is your exhaustion. The mouse, who never stops moving, eventually collapses. You cannot maintain this level of alertness forever. You are always scanning for threats, always ready to run, always preparing for the worst. This keeps you alive, but it also keeps you from ever feeling safe. You cannot rest, because resting means vulnerability, and vulnerability means death. Unlike the elephant who remembers everything, you forget quickly because remembering slows you down. You move on from betrayal not because you have processed it, but because you cannot afford to carry it. You forgive not out of grace, but out of necessity. You let go not because you have healed, but because you have to keep moving. This makes you resilient, but also prevents you from ever fully processing what has happened to you. The mouse asks, "Am I surviving, or am I just running? Is my speed keeping me safe or keeping me from ever arriving anywhere?" The eagle. The distance that creates perspective. If you chose the eagle, you have learned to rise above the chaos. While the mouse runs through the maze and the elephant remembers every turn, you fly high enough to see the entire pattern. You do not get caught in the details because you refuse to stay at ground level where the details can consume you. You seek altitude, distance, the perspective that only comes from refusing to be in the middle of the mess. Unlike the mouse who lives in constant reactivity, you observe before you act. Unlike the elephant who is trapped by memory, you see memory as just one part of a larger pattern. Unlike the turtle who withdraws into protection, you protect yourself through distance. You do not build walls. You simply fly higher than the chaos can reach. Where the elephant moves slowly through deliberation and the turtle moves slowly through protection, you move slowly through observation. You circle, you watch, you wait until you understand the full picture before you make your move. This makes you strategic, wise, and often right. You rarely regret your decisions because you made them from a place of clarity rather than reactivity. Where the mouse sees every tiny detail, you see the pattern those details create. The mouse knows the crack in the wall. You know why the wall is cracking. The elephant remembers every conversation. You remember the narrative arc of the entire relationship. You are not interested in the trees. You need to see the forest, the mountain range, the entire landscape. But here is your isolation. The eagle who flies too high eventually forgets what it feels like to be on the ground. You have so much perspective that you lose touch with immediate experience. You analyze rather than feel. You observe rather than participate. You understand everything from a distance, but you touch nothing directly. Unlike the elephant who is burdened by feeling too much, you are burdened by feeling too little. You have protected yourself so well through distance that you no longer know how to be close to anything. People accuse you of being cold, detached, unavailable. They are not wrong. You are unavailable because availability requires landing, and landing means losing the perspective that keeps you safe. The eagle asks, "Is my perspective wisdom, or is it avoidance? Am I seeing clearly, or am I just refusing to land?" The turtle, the protection that slows everything down. If you chose the turtle, you have learned that survival requires a shell. You cannot run like the mouse. You cannot fly like the eagle. You cannot intimidate like the elephant. So, you protect. You carry your home on your back. You move slowly, deliberately, and you are prepared to withdraw completely when the world becomes too much. Your slowness is not laziness. It is strategy. Unlike the mouse who survives through speed, you survive through endurance. You do not try to outrun danger. You outlast it. You pull into your shell and wait. You know that most threats lose interest if you simply refuse to engage. The mouse exhausts itself running. You conserve your energy by staying still. This is not cowardice. This is wisdom. Where the eagle protects itself through distance, you protect yourself through boundaries. The eagle flies away. You close the door. The eagle escapes vertically. You escape internally. Both of you refuse to fight battles you do not need to fight, but you do it in opposite ways. The eagle seeks space. You create containment. Where the elephant is burdened by memory and the mouse is burdened by alertness, you are burdened by carrying everything you need to survive. You cannot travel light because your protection is heavy. Your shell keeps you safe, but it also slows you down. You cannot move quickly even when you want to because safety requires weight. But here is your limitation. The turtle who never comes out of its shell eventually forgets why it has a shell in the first place. Protection becomes prison. The shell that was meant to keep you safe during danger becomes the place you hide even when there is no danger. You withdraw not because you need to, but because withdrawal is what you know. Unlike the elephant who cannot forget and the mouse who cannot stop moving, you cannot open. You have practiced closing for so long that opening feels dangerous even when it is not. Someone reaches out with genuine care and you pull into your shell. Someone offers connection and you wait for the threat. Your protection has become automatic and you no longer know how to distinguish between real danger and imagined danger. The turtle asks, "Is my shell protecting me or imprisoning me? Am I being careful or am I just afraid to live?" Integration. When all four animals move as one. You chose one animal, but Jung would tell you that all four live within you. The question is which one dominates your psyche right now and which ones you have rejected. If you chose the elephant, you need to learn from the mouse that not everything needs to be remembered. You need to learn from the eagle that perspective requires distance from memory. You need to learn from the turtle that sometimes you must stop carrying the past and let it rest. If you chose the mouse, you need to learn from the elephant that some things are worth remembering even if they slow you down. You need to learn from the eagle that sometimes you need to stop and observe. You need to learn from the turtle that survival is not just about speed, but about knowing when to stop. If you chose the eagle, you need to learn from the elephant that some memories are worth carrying. You need to learn from the mouse that sometimes you must land and move through the details. You need to learn from the turtle that protection sometimes requires going in rather than going up. If you chose the turtle, you need to learn from the elephant that memory can be strength, not just burden. You need to learn from the mouse that sometimes you must move quickly. You need to learn from the eagle that sometimes protection means gaining perspective, not just withdrawing. The elephant remembers, the mouse runs, the eagle flies, the turtle withdraws. You need all four. Remember what matters. Move when necessary. Seek perspective when you are lost. Protect yourself when you are overwhelmed. The question is not which animal you are, but which animal this moment requires. Share which silhouette chose you in the comments. Not to define yourself permanently, but to acknowledge which rhythm is currently dominant in your life. Because you are not one animal. You are the consciousness that learns when to remember, when to run, when to fly, and when to withdraw. That is wholeness.